Hey, it's Ed here. Today we're taking a look at technical analysis for Nasdaq with Elliott Wave Theory. If you want to educate yourself and support me, you can take a look at Patreon, where you can find Elliott Wave Basics course, access to weekly live streams and extra content overall. Thank you for your support. Let's get to the charts next. Starting here a bit higher time frame on the 4 hour, just to remind ourselves what do we have here on higher time frame. Again, starting with a bit less likely scenario where we have this as a WXYXZ. This would be saying that we have a structure that is actually ending at these lows that we've had on the October lows. Since then, again, we've had a potential three-way rally here, forming a somewhat of a connector. However, it would be very weird if it is actually a connector wave that is connecting this structure coming down into the next. So again, as we have not even taken that the 38.2 yet. But again, this is still one of the possibilities. However, as the WXYXZ triple correction is very uncommon, meaning very rare, it's not really a primary idea of anything. Then we have the more general idea where we have this as a three-way structure coming down into the lows of June. Since then, again, we have a few different options overall, having this as a three-way structure, as in the form of wave W, then three ways into X. This is one of the options where we have retraced around the 50% before continuation to the downside, creating this kind of structure over here, getting a pardon leg for this wave W down here. Again, this has already taken so long, this B wave, in comparison to this wave X. So again, this is not the main count. So let's take a look at the next one, which is not this one, but let's see, where do we have it here? Again, the trading view is shifting my folders very nicely every time I open this chart, so apologies about that. But overall idea is still the same, W here, and instead of this being the wave X of this degree of this intermediate, it's a wave W. So instead we have 3 here, and now we'd be creating a 3 here. Now as we see, we have quite good confluence here at the 1.236 and the 1-to-1 extensions of this wave W, pivoted again from these lows of wave X. However, again, this wave Y is starting to take quite a long time. So I think we need and we want to take this last step fairly soon before this whole thing is going to be taking too much time. So if we are comparing 1-to-1 in time, we can see that we are already so far away. Let's see if I have some here. Let's put down the 2 and 1.618, I think is fairly close to it. Yep, 1.618 would be coming up on the 28th of February. So we'll see again how high this is going to go. But again, this is, I think, one of the favorites that I have currently overall. Now, if we are looking at the substructures that we would have here, since the lows, again, the idea was that we had this as three ways. We'd go into smaller time frames. Let's get rid of these other counts here. One of them is saying that we have this as a three-way structure, then three-way structure coming down, and then this would be a wave Y of that smaller degree. I think these are actually 1 degree too high. Again, not to be confused with the other count that I just showed you. So again, this would give us a three-way structure upwards. Again, this structure is, there are some overlaps everywhere. All the peaks are overlapping with previous structures except this one, which is an indication that there is some kind of push up here. However, again, RSI has not taken out the previous highs either. So again, it's not too large of a push. But again, this is one of the counts that I'm following. We'll get into the smaller structures here in later on. But again, this is another way of labeling this, where this wave Y would be, instead of these highs like we had on this scenario, we would have on the next one. However, again, the idea was that we had this as a far wave coming down. I don't think this is very relevant anymore, so I think we can actually just delete this completely. Then we had one more, which is saying that we have a structure ending at these highs. Again, quite a few different options. Any of these pivots are actually labelable, unfortunately, so it doesn't really matter which one you're going to be using, either this one or this next one that I have here. Both have a pivot down here. Actually, it should be, I think that low is the lower low. If we want to have this as 5 waves coming down, it's easier to label it in here though. But yeah, the overall idea is that we have a 3 wave, whether you have it from here or here, doesn't really matter. They are both on very similar highs here as well. But yeah, those are the two options. For the bullish count, we would still have this as a possibility of AB or wave 1, 2. Again, this would be for the WXY count, where this could be a wave 1, or we could be having this as a wave A of a wave Y overall on higher degree. But again, so many different variations, of which all of them are very potential or very possible, and unfortunately the lower degrees here on Nasdaq don't even clear this up. On this local more bullish count, where we would have this as a wave 1 or wave A, we would have this as wave 2 and another 1, 2, 1, 2, and this would be 3, 4 and 5. However, why this is very unlikely is the fact that on S&P 500 we have already taken out these highs as again with these lows. So again, we can't have this as 1, 2, 3, 4 because wave 4 came back to wave 1 territory. And if this is indeed a third of minuet, we can't have a diagonal in there. So again, that would invalidate that idea completely. So what do we have options? We have one of the options where we have this as a wave A or wave 1 coming back into these highs, where we have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Again, not really pretty, but again, that's that. And then we would have this as a wave 1, 2 and whatever this is going to be. Again, saying that we would have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is not really possible on S&P 500, but just a thought that you can still have. Again, this is not really fitting too well into any of the higher degree wave structures, unfortunately, so that's why I don't really favor this at the moment. More simpler explanation would be something like this, where we would have this whole thing as corrective, where we'd have this as an A, 3-way pullback into B, and then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that wave C, creating this ABC structure into W, 3-way pullback into X, and then another ABC. Unfortunately, on this scenario, again, we don't have any invalidations on RSI either. We are still within the same uptrend that we've had here on 1 hour, and once this breaks, it's going to be the first key that okay, this is probably coming down a bit more, and then we can turn up to the higher degrees and higher time frames to see how far this actually has a potential coming. But I think the more bearish scenarios are the ones that I'm favoring. I currently don't have any more longs open on the S&P 500, as I got stopped out on those, and I have yet to open any shorts either. So I'm out of the market at the moment on the indices. I have a couple stocks that I'm still in on the short side, but we can be talking about those more on the Patreon Discord. But yeah, unfortunately the structures from these highs either is not really giving us too much info. This is very similar that we had on S&P 500. However, again, yesterday we had this pump and dump scheme going on with the J-Pow's talk, again giving us these dumps and very much of a pumps, and I'm happy that I did not play any of these. Again, what do I see here is potential 3-way structure here, another 3-wave. This is again much of a dump similar to these, however it's a bit shorter, so there is a chance that this whole thing is again just a 3-way structure like this, getting to the 0.618 as minimum. So this would be a 3-way structure in its own. Well, this has to be basically a 3-way structure in its own as well, if we want to be having a part of this previous structure here. So we would have something like this overall, and then again with these weird structures here, I can't really tell what is going on. So at the moment I'm just going to be ignoring those and waiting until the market gives us again some more clues what is going to happen. Now again, I think we probably should, or the play would be just to zoom out and see what we have here on higher time frame. Again, the main was the WXY, and this was the other main, and as we are getting to these mentioned areas that I mentioned again previously, I think those are the main targets here that I would be at least searching for, and then a potential move downwards. I don't think there's going to be any news events this week. I might be wrong. I need to check the Discord. But yeah, these are the things that I would be looking for here on higher time frame. Again, not really anything interesting on the smaller time frames, unfortunately for me at this very point or very moment. Again, we're still climbing this. If we are coming back here into this same area, maybe there is a long chance, but again, I don't really see us having the very likely scenario of that bullish structure that I mentioned, where everything would be a 1 to 1 to 1 2, just due to the comparison to the S&P 500, where some of those are already invalid. But I think that is where I'm going to be leaving you on this video. Again, if you made it this far into the video, I would appreciate the likes and comments on the video, and if you want to learn more, check out the Patreon and Discord link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.